I went through this, but it brought about this. I went through this trial, but it brought about this good. If you can see that with limited perspective now, how much greater is that perspective going to be when you have infinite time and you're actually in the presence of Jesus to show you why you went through that hardship and why you went through that trial? This is what heaven's going to do in us, because all former things pass away. Probably the greatest example that I could think of to share with you today is the picture of Joni Eareckson Tada, if you know her. She's in her 70s now. She's a quadriplegic, but the way she got to that way is when she was a teenager. She loved diving, she loved swimming, and she had a diving accident, and she broke her neck. And for the rest of her life, she was stuck in that wheelchair. And through her ministry, though, of sharing how God has brought good, even in the midst of her suffering, she's ministered to so many people that God used her accident, actually, she now realizes, to bring herself back to him. Like he actually had to use that in order for her to have a heart that was fully committed to him. And so she ministers around the world. She's written books, but this is what she writes. I want you to hear these words. You won't see them on the screen. You got to pay attention, but they're so powerful. She says this: I always say that in a way, I hope I can take my wheelchair to heaven with me. I know that's not biblically correct, but if I were able to, I would have my wheelchair up in heaven right next to me when God gives me my brand new glorified body. And I will then turn to Jesus and say, Lord, do you see that wheelchair right there? Well, if you were right when you said that, you were right when you said in this world you will have trouble, because that wheelchair has been a lot of trouble. But Jesus, the weaker I was in that thing, the harder I leaned on you. And the harder I leaned on you, the stronger I discovered you to be. And then she says these words. I don't want you to miss this. She says, I do not think I would ever have known the glory of your grace were it not for the weakness of that wheelchair. And so she says this: so thank you for what you did in my life through that wheelchair. And then she says, and now if you like, you can send that thing off to hell. I like that. It's a powerful story. Powerful testimony. John says in verse 5, and he who was seated on the throne said, behold, I am making all things new. So at the point where that spot in history starts, eternity starts, in heaven, he says all things are new. You know what that means? Let that phrase sink into your head. All things new. Everything that you know now, the pain, the suffering, the hardship, the injustice that we experience in this world, gone. All things new. You know what that means? Here's kind of what I wrote and wanted to share. This means no more sickness, no more shame, no more heartaches or heart disease, no more rejection or depression or addiction, no more casts, crutches, coughs, colds, cancer, or chemo treatments, no more terrorist attacks, no more child abuse or rape, no more love handles even. No more body odor or receding hairlines. Don't look. No more yelling or fighting, gossip or road rage. No more whining kids. Thank you. Praise God. No more stressed out parents or stepping on Legos. Thank God. No more dentists, doctors, or failed diets. No more politicians, elections, or corruptions. No more waiting rooms or courtrooms. No more death. Jesus will come back and say, no more. I'm making everything new. Isn't that amazing? Everything new. Former things passed away. It'll be everything good and pure.